Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for joining our golf cart laws and safety webinar, and we'll get started right away. Again, thank you guys for being here. I'm your host, Matt Baggett. I'm an attorney at Baggett Law. I'm the managing partner there. We're an injury law firm in Jacksonville, Florida, and St. Johns County, Florida. We've handled hundreds and hundreds of motor vehicle accident cases, including cases involving golf carts. So we represent the injured party that is making a case against someone that has negligently hurt them, and we pursue those negligent parties. And again, we're very happy to host this webinar, which is if you're on the last webinar, which was our team driving webinar, someone specifically requested a golf cart webinar. We're happy to host this. So that is our focus. Golf carts, okay? Golf carts. Are you driving them legally? Insurance issues. And what are you even driving? Okay, that question is going to make sense in just a minute, but let me set the stage first. In Florida, golf carts and something called low-speed vehicles that I'll talk about are huge. They're blowing up. They're everywhere. There's something that wasn't around when I was young, standalone golf cart dealerships, not big golf cart wholesale outfits, but actual dealerships, well-curated little golf cart dealerships selling what aren't golf carts. They're fancy little electric vehicles that people are just absolutely consuming in mass right now. They're popular. They're popular because they're really cool. They're fun. They're still relatively affordable. They're open air. You know, it's in Florida where 7 months out of the year it's hot. Being open air vehicle is really neat. And there's another effect that if you live in a community where there's a lot of them and a growing number of them, you have a phrase, something that this phrase I learned from a friend called golf cart envy. Your neighbor, other people in your community they're getting a bigger golf cart, a shinier golf cart, fancier wheels, things like that. You may be experiencing golf cart envy and you're jumping in the golf cart game. They're everywhere. They're not going to stop. At the end of the day, we're hosting this webinar because these golf carts are motor vehicles under our laws. They have risks that you need to know about. Again, it's just like our teen driving webinar. We're not here to scare anybody. We pride ourselves at Baggett Law on education, and we want to provide some education. So a quick hitter, less than 10 minutes or less, not much to know, just like our teen driving webinar was. Now, first and foremost, you probably, if you're listening to this, you probably don't own a golf cart technically under our laws, even if it looks like one. You likely own what are classified under our laws in Florida as low-speed vehicles. Why? Because your golf cart that you're driving around goes above 20 miles per hour. So under the law, these golf carts and these low-speed vehicles, they are classified by their top speeds. Golf carts, or excuse me, let me start with low-speed vehicles. Low-speed vehicles are capable of going over 20 miles per hour and up to 25 miles per hour, okay? That puts you in a low-speed vehicle. It's all about the top speed. That's the singular focus of the law. Golf carts, those are a little different. Those are the same sort of vehicle. They may look the same, but those have a top speed of 20 miles per hour or less, okay? And the law is going to treat those two things differently. Why does it matter? Well, if you have an LSV that tops, that goes above 25 miles per hour, you are free to go on our roadways so long as that roadway is 35 miles per hour or less, okay? So, but your LSV must be properly outfitted. Headlamps, tail lamps, you've got to have it tagged. You've got to have insurance on it. It's got to have a windshield, a VIN number, and a couple of other requirements. So if your golf cart goes over 20 miles per hour, it's a low speed vehicle, and you can take it legally on roadways up to 35 miles per hour. So long as you meet those other requirements, including that you have a valid driver's license. I will go back to that in just a minute. Okay, golf cart owners, it's a bit different. You are only allowed on roadways that have been pre-approved by your county or city government where you live. And that's not to bum you out, but you're probably driving illegally. There's a probability that you are, just like all the people that do so in my neighborhood, throughout my neighborhood, because the city or county has not approved the roadways for golf cart usage. Again, those vehicles that can go up to 20 but cannot go higher than 20 miles per hour. A good example of a community that has approved golf carts is the Nocatee community in St. Johns County, Florida, where we have a law office there. This is a pre-planned golf cart community, pre-approved. Golf cart roads are mapped and shared. There's a golf cart path adjacent to major roadways that only golf carts can go on, or at least supposed to be able to go on. There's golf cart crossings there on the major roads. There's share the road signs that look a lot like this graphic right in front of you, except they have share the road, letting other drivers know that golf carts are going to be on the roadways. So for the rest of us that aren't in these planned communities, for instance, if you're somewhere and you don't see a sign like this, it's likely you're driving illegally on a street that has just been earmarked for cars and trucks and has not been approved yet. When these signs go up, you'll know that that roadway has been approved. You're subject to a ticket if you're in a golf cart and you're on a roadway that has not been approved yet. But good news is we're at a point in time where, half the cops don't really know about this and the other half don't really care. They're not going to ticket you. They're not going to take the time to find out your vehicle only goes 20 miles per hour or less, and therefore you're on an unapproved roadway and I'm going to give you a citation. All of this with golf carts is avoidable. Again, let me go back. If you're in a low-speed vehicle that goes 20 to 25 miles per hour, and again, it's properly registered and outfitted, then you're good, and you can drive legally on roadways that go up to 35 miles per hour. Now, we at Baggett Law, representing the injured, we are car insurance lawyers. First and foremost, above all else, we have an intimate knowledge of Florida car insurance law. So regardless of whether you're driving a golf cart or a low-speed vehicle legally on the road, illegally on the road, under our laws, you are driving a motor vehicle. Okay, under Florida law, you're in a motor vehicle and you are subject to the same rules of the road, the same road laws that cars and trucks are. That means if you hit someone, you're on the hook. If you let your kid drive and your kid hits someone legally or illegally, you're on the hook. If you lend your cart to your neighbor and they hit someone, you are on the hook for the harms they've done as well as they are. So get your liability picture in order, okay, in case you hurt someone. But more important than your liability picture is uninsured motorist coverage. And let me explain why. If you're in a cart or an LSV, yeah, you could hurt someone. You could certainly do harm to a pedestrian, but you're not likely to do much harm to the occupants of a vehicle. So more important than, in my mind, than having your liability picture or your liability insurance picture in order is having your uninsured motorist coverage. Why? Because physically, when you're in a golf cart or a low-speed vehicle, you are almost exposed as a motorcyclist is in this really cool open-air vehicle. Well, That's great. They're built for that, but you're exposed and serious harm can result. Government studies show that in carts and low-speed vehicles, there is an extremely high risk of debilitating or fatal injuries, even at low speeds. Why? Because low-speed vehicles and golf carts, they are not subject to government impact and safety standards. In the law, we call this crash worthiness. They are not evaluated. They don't have to meet crash worthy, crash test dummy type of standards. So make sure you have your uninsured motorist car insurance coverage in order. It applies to, make sure it applies to your car, to your LSV, because you cannot rely on someone that might hit you to have adequate liability insurance, because in the state of Florida, Florida law requires drivers to carry exactly zero liability insurance. So make sure you're covered in case someone hurts you. That's really it. If you own a golf cart, you can only legally drive on golf cart approved roadways. And by the way, I didn't mention, let me briefly mention, you can be 14 and drive a golf cart. And then I already mentioned with LSVs, if you own a registered and outfitted LSV, you can legally drive on roadways up to 35 mile with a up to 35 mile per hour speed limit. But as we're saying here, make sure you're 16 or older, have a valid driver's license. And regardless of any of that, you're driving a motor vehicle under our law, so have your liability and your uninsured motorist coverage, car insurance picture in order, and make sure your cart or your LSV is covered. I'm going to check real quick for questions, and we have one, and that question is, if you have a learner's permit, let me go back a slide. If you have a learner's permit, can you drive your LSV legally? Yes, you can. Technically, that should not say, we should have put 16 with an asterisk. Thank you for the attendee for pointing that out. Yes, you can have a learner's permit if you can drive a vehicle legally in Florida, like you can with a learner's permit. And I know you can be 15 and do that with an adult. Then you can drive an LSV legally. So yes, so you have to have a valid driver's license or a valid means to drive, and you're good on your LSV. Of course, if you're in a cart on cart approved roadways, and again, your cart, meaning it does not go over 20 miles per hour, you can be 14 and up, and you do not need a license if your cart goes 20 miles per hour or less. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for attending, and we look forward to hosting another webinar soon.